Thank you for holding this hearing. Thank you for the efforts that this committee went through in regard to enactment of the Sergeant First Class Heath Robinson honoring our PACT Act, which was signed into law now a year ago. I'm going to say some of the same things that you said, but certainly not as articulately as you did. Dr. Ellen Hall and Dr. Jacobs, you've each had an important task in implementing the PACT Act over the last year. We recognize the challenges. We talked about them as one of our concerns from the very beginning is how does the VA implement this major piece of legislation in a way that takes care of the veterans that we want to include, but doesn't do anything damaging to those who are already part of the system. And we know, recognizing the challenges, but recognize that the benefits that come from creating these new benefits we think outweigh the challenges and the detriments that might come to others. This legislation, the PACT Act, virtually every aspect of the department's operation, delivering health care and benefits and leasing VA medical facilities, conducting research into toxic exposures, and recruiting and retaining employees at the VA. Congress gave the VA a number of tools to expand the services available to toxic exposed veterans and their survivors, and we want to help you accomplish that goal. I do have some concerns or questions that I would raise. One of the tools we gave the VA is a one-year open enrollment for post 9/11 combat veterans who separated from service more than 10 years ago. That deadline is rapidly approaching. I have concerns. I just want to be reassured that the VA has not sufficiently informed this group. I say that in a positive way. I want to make sure that those individuals have been informed and have the opportunity to enroll before the time is up. I also would like to be reassured that the VA is adequately tracking how many veterans are enrolling in the VA health care system due to the PACT Act, and I remain concerned about the impact the PACT Act is having on the backlog for veterans and survivors, toxic exposed or not, and should wait, and we want to make sure that wait time should not be a second longer than necessary in receiving benefits. I'd like to hear how the VBA is staying on top of the backlog and using resources Congress provided to work through these claims quickly without loss of the quality of claim decisions. I continue to hear from veterans who have been exposed to toxins in locations or circumstances not included in the PACT Act. This could be veterans who were exposed to burn pits in Kosovo or herbicides in Panama. A key aspect of the PACT Act was directing the VA to carry out a fair and transparent process to identify, evaluate, and grant presumptions for additional toxic exposures and related diseases not spelled out specifically in the legislation. The VA, CDC, the National Academies have expertise and now the congressional mandate to listen to veterans to act to address their toxic exposure-related health concerns as needed. I was glad to see the VA announced this week that the department is going to use the new PACT Act process to consider 3 additional new presumptions. I hope to hear from our witnesses, from you today, more about that and about additional conditions the VA may be considering through the next framework in this process. As the PACT Act made clear, caring for veterans who are sick and suffering or may become so as a result of toxic exposures they experienced in the military is a moral imperative for the VA and for this committee. The men and women who were exposed to Agent Orange, burn pit smoke, radiation, and other dangerous toxins deserve nothing less. I look forward to hearing how I and this committee can be of help to you in accomplishing the goals that we mutually share in the implementation of the PACT Act. And Mr. Chairman, I yield back.